this weird ball of corpses because this place wasn't yet creepy enough. Hello everybody, welcome back to Creative Gaming. Alright, in this episode I continue with my Demon Souls playthrough. I won't repeat the rules in great detail again, that's what the previous episodes are for. But the short version is I'm rolling a 6-sided die to decide, level by level, my progress throughout this game. So in the last episode I was in the Shrine of Storms, and it's about time that I roll the die again to see where I'm going next.
I can't wait!
Like to see me suffer, do ya? So here we go. Okay, so I roll a 3. That takes us to the Tower of Latria. Another pretty tough level, but I should be strong enough to take it on by now. So Latria seems to be the land of magic, or the soul arts. Latria had a queen residing in her ivory tower, but through lore you discover that she had banished her husband. He came back with a vengeance, wearing mysterious golden garb, and this land, much like the other ones, was plunged into darkness. This first level of Latria seems to be some prison tower. I said in the last episode that the Shrine of Storms might aesthetically be my favorite level, but that just possibly might be surpassed by this level. There's so much atmosphere to each of the levels in Demon Souls. You do feel the desolation, the desperation, the creepiness of a kingdom ruined by greed and power. But Latria definitely takes this a step further. This tower is a prison tower, but even more than that, it becomes apparent that it's a torture tower as well. You come across several torture devices, chairs with nails, iron maidens, you see corpses hanging, etc., etc. It's definitely disturbing. To top it off, you hear screams of anguish and another character screaming for help. The most dangerous enemies here are these Mind Flayers. Mind Flayers never seem to be good news in whatever game they're in. These ones are no exception. They can one-shot unprepared adventurers. They walk around with this little bell ringing, and they do have this little green glow too, so you can kinda gauge their location even if you don't see them. Again, using audio as some type of cue. It's best to try to sneak up on these Mind Flayers from behind. They can blast you with a magic spell, but they can also grab a hold of you and chomp you for massive damage. This level is a bit dark, so you don't always see well in the distance. This is one of the more maze-like levels. It's easy to get confused in this place, with these winding corridors that all look similar. You also start on the 3rd floor. There's a 3rd floor east, there's a 3rd floor west. There are a total of 4 floors, each with their east and west versions. And you find different keys for many of them. My sense of direction sucks in this place. Obviously, Demon Souls doesn't have a map or compass.
Dylan could barely find his way within this bachelor apartment.
Oh yay, a catalyst. Now we can finally use magic.
Uh-oh, he's unlocked easy mode. I might lose my bet after all.
This place is definitely confusing. I've talked about messages you can read from other players or leave on the ground yourself. I think you can appraise these messages. If a message has a high appraisal rate, it's usually because it's a helpful message. Players can trick other players with bogus messages, in which case it would probably be rated low. So you make decisions on whether you decide to trust a message or not. There are these regular enemies as well. A lot of them aren't hostile, they just come up to you with their arms flailing in the air. I think they want a mercy killing. Some other enemies have weapons or poisonous knives. Oh, I'm being invaded. Was this a game phantom? No, I think it's a real player. One of the defining traits of these Souls games is invasion. You can get invaded by other players, and you can invade other players' worlds as well. It's a pretty fun concept, and it makes sense within the logic of this game world, with everything being souls and spirits, etc. I have this ring that supposedly hides me from the player's sight. Let's see if it works. Ah, he's over there, looking for me. Alright, so I don't know what type of player this is. Some of these players are highly skilled. Winning an encounter can give you souls or other rewards. Bah. Alright, I can kind of tell that this isn't a very experienced player, although he did get me. But being prepared to tackle a level isn't the same as preparing yourself to fight an invading player. I'm generally not good against other players. I'm more of a patterns kind of guy. I can study enemies' patterns and get by with that. But with other players, that's a much bigger variable. It becomes about quick reactions. Experienced players can usually parry and riposte your attacks, making them hard to fight. Or they have some weapon with status effects, or they can one-shot you with some big-ass weapon. I will say, the player versus player, or PvP, in Demon's Souls is probably the worst of any of the Souls games. Dark Souls improved this sequel by sequel, and in Elden Ring invasions work pretty well. But there are a few issues in Demon's Souls. First of all, you can have plenty of healing items. Both you and your opponents can heal constantly, which can really draw out a fight if you're evenly matched with another player. In future games, that's why they created the Estus Flask or other means of limiting players' recovery. Second, there is graphical stutter or inaccuracies. For example, when I'm fighting the other player, I'm swinging my sword and it takes a second for the hit to register. So it becomes the battle of my internet versus his internet. This is true for other Souls games as well, but it seems to be worse here. When they remade this game for PS5, I thought they would vastly fix a lot of these issues, but it doesn't seem like they did. You don't get a lot of invasions either. I have played this entire game without ever getting invaded, and yes, I kept my character in body form. I tried to invade other players as well, but again, it wasn't working. I guess the Demon's Souls servers don't get as much traction as the other Souls games. Like I said, you can only get invaded when your character is alive. You don't get invaded when you're in soul form. There is an item that can revive your character, but then if I die and get invaded again, the level tendency will shift more to black, and we get more of the tough black phantoms appear in the level. Another cool aspect is seeing other players' bloodstains. When you interact with these, you see a silhouette of the player and you see how they died. This can give you a clue about what's ahead. Again, it's cool and it makes sense for this undead world. If you die, you leave a bloodstain as well, in your world and other players. You need to reach your bloodstain again if you want to get back your souls. Your souls are your currency, so it sucks to lose them. You can only retrieve souls from your last death. So if you die before you get to your souls, you'll lose those ones forever, because you create a new bloodstain. You can bring these hanging corpses down with an arrow. Oh gosh, if a mind flayer starts running towards you like some toddler, just run away for dear life. If you get in front of their character model, they simply just grab you, even if you try to roll. Then they just chew on your face for massive damage. Ah shit, he caught me. Now we get to the Iron Maiden traps. These kinda suck because you have no way of knowing if there's an item inside or an enemy just waiting to ambush you. And if they stab you, you can get poisoned. If you're unprepared, you might lose a fair amount of hit points before you figure out which item can remove poison. This flower, called the Royal Lotus, can remove poison, and you can find a few in this level. Here I find Sage Freak. He's an NPC worth rescuing. He can turn bosses' souls into magic spells.
I have been trapped here for an age. I am a sage.
Here is another character, Riddle. He's more difficult to rescue than Freak. I believe you can only find the key to rescue him in the second level of Latria. First time players might completely miss this because by the time you get to that second level, you'll probably forget this character. Here we find the fluted equipment, probably the most defensive equipment in the game, although most likely it'll make you fat roll. I started with this equipment because of the Knight class. I can send this to storage, but on the PS3 version of Demon's Souls you couldn't do that. You had to drop some other items if you wanted to pick these up. This weird ball of corpses, because this place wasn't yet creepy enough. Here is another trap, the Ballista trap. This makes crossing the bridge very dangerous. It looks tempting with all these treasures on it, but as usual, this game has another way of going around this trap. Although it is possible to get through it if you roll at the right times, but the timing is pretty precise, so try at your own risk. Remember that the starting point of this level is pretty far from here. So I'm just gonna play it safe. 2 of these mind flayers. Even outdoors, the sky always seems to be dark here. Definitely the creepiest level in the game. Alright, I always like getting new clothes or equipment. Now we're on the other side of the ballista. We can stop this trap and nab the treasures. Here we get to a unique NPC, kind of an oddball, and he seems friendly. Your first instinct is to probably leave him alone. He doesn't seem to be very threatening. But, spoiler alert, this weakling can revive the boss of this level over and over, so if you don't kill him, you can't beat the boss. So, as heart-wrenching as it is, you gotta stop him from using this revival spell. I believe there's a black phantom down there. I don't know if they appear when I'm in soul form. Yes, they do. So this enemy has a knife and a small shield, which implies that she can probably parry your attacks, so I'm being a little cautious here. I believe she can poison you, or put some other status ailment on you. Alright, so now I rescue Frake. When you return to the Nexus, you can get spells from him.
I never expected I might escape alive. I have a proposal. Could you bring as I determine more? You have a connect. Do not pay.
And here we are at the boss. Another pretty cool boss. This lady is actually the image of the Queen of Latria, but her ex-husband, the old monk, has animated a doll in her image as a symbol of hope for the prisoners of Latria. One thing Demon Souls does really well is atmosphere. Regardless of level or boss, they always nail the atmosphere in this game. This boss is pretty creepy. She looks like some librarian levitating around and reading a book. She doesn't even seem to be paying that much attention to you. But when she sees you, she does attack you with soul magic. There are invisible circles on the ground that temporarily stun your character. So it's not always easy to just run up to the boss and attack. Also, she can create doppelgangers of herself. They all appear in the central corridor, so it's safer on the other side of these pillars. But there are no guaranteed safe spots, because the boss or one of her doppelgangers can usually still get you with their spell. There can be 2, 3, 4 copies of her. It's hard to tell which is the real boss and which are the copies. But the real queen fires a spell that's a lighter blue than her copies. Also, the fakes have their energy bars right above their heads, but not the real one. She only has her long health bar at the bottom. Keep this into consideration. She disappears and reappears somewhere else after a few hits. You can fire arrows or spells at her, but they don't do significant damage. So as the battle goes on, it becomes a bit of a mess, with multiple copies that can attack you from any angle. Ah shit, these damn circles. Alright, I'm just gonna finish her off with an arrow. Okay, so we have another demon down. These gargoyles take you to the second part of the level, but I can't visit here past the bonfire. Need to unlock the area with the die. Now I can learn Soul Ray. I don't plan on spamming magic in this playthrough, but sometimes a little magic can be convenient. Alright, Negativio, we're 4 episodes in and I'm not quitting yet.
Well, congrats, but the second part of each level is coming up.
Oh, don't remind me. I will be on to another game next episode, but as usual, send me your likes and comments and I'll return to this game soon enough. Keep gaming, everyone.